We see language as the medium through which we understand or misunderstand one another. If you have ever wondered whether your child is developing apace, whether a student understands what you're trying to teach them, or whether your coworker really agrees with your proposal, chances are you're looking for answers in what is said. But as we will see, children's gestures can tell you whether they are on track. Your students' gestures can tell you whether you are getting through. And your coworkers' gestures can reveal thoughts they don't want to say or don't even know they have. Language is only one window, and maybe not always the best one, into your thoughts. Languages, both spoken and signed, are rule-governed systems that package information into categories. Gesture assumes a less discrete and more pictorial form, and, as such, provides a complementary and, I argue, essential vantage point onto the mind. I focus here on thoughts that are hidden in your hands. You may not be consciously aware of them, but you're thinking them. It may surprise and dismay you to know that, because they are displayed in your hands, these thoughts are visible to others. Everyone is able to read the thoughts your hands express. This means an undercurrent of conversation is taking place when we speak, one that is often unacknowledged. If we want to fully communicate with others, and maybe even with ourselves, we need to understand what's happening with our hands. I also argue that focusing exclusively on language as the foundation of communication is wrong. It relies on an incomplete understanding of how the mind works, interfering with our ability to fully understand each other and ourselves. For 50 years, I have been studying how and why people gesture, and I have come to believe that gesture not only reveals our attitudes and feelings about ourselves, our listeners, and the conversation between us, but also contributes to the conversation itself. When Diana's teacher ties up her hands, she keeps Diana not only from betraying her emotions, but also from expressing her ideas. Let's take an example from March Madness, the annual basketball tournament of the National Collegiate Athletic Association. On March 20th, 2022, Gonzaga was playing Memphis and was behind at the end of the first half when the referees called a shooting foul on Drew Timme, a Gonzaga player. His coach, Mark Few, made his displeasure known by furrowing his brow, a facial gesture that revealed his emotions. But it was his hand gesture, an extended point at the screen on the scoreboard where the presumed foul was being replayed, that got him into trouble. The point connected the coach's emotion with the foul. It may have been obvious that he felt angry, but the gesture made clear that he thought the call was wrong. And now everyone in the stadium knew it. That gesture also earned him a technical foul, which gave Memphis additional free throws and put Gonzaga further behind. As Gene Steratore, a rules analyst and retired referee himself, put it, you expect some verbal, but when you start pointing, when you start gesturing physically, that optic is not good for the game. Hand gestures say what's on your mind, even when keeping it to yourself would be wiser. But why do we gesture at all when we already have language? To answer that question, we need to know a little something about how our minds work. Imagine a world in which all forms of language, spoken, signed, written, have been wiped out, along with everyone's knowledge of these forms. But everything else stays the same. If you were living in this world, you would continue to think, but obviously not in your language. How would you communicate your thoughts? It may sound like an impossible test to carry out, but my research explores an even more extreme scenario. Would you communicate if you had never been exposed to language, and if so, what would that communication look like? Of course, we cannot ethically deprive a child of linguistic input. We can, however, take advantage of what we might call an experiment of nature.